All right, one of the critical issues in this market is, total cost of ownership for generative AI. Very hard to pin down. We've got some ideas about how we're approaching it. If you go to the next one, here's some data we've collected. If you look at, input versus output token pricing, you see, a significant decrease, certainly between when it first came out and now in August 2024. So input price change, you can see, has come down, significantly. If we go to the next one. We also have output prices have also been coming down, although they continue to be more expensive, the generative part of generative AI. Go to the next one. Here, we just keep going. Sorry, that agenda thing. Now, in terms of our modeling approach, there are a lot of dynamics here. So the first thing we did is we said, what's the demand going to look like? And there's a number of things happening: people, devices, agents, quality, and mode. And quality and mode are significant. So if you take, for example, text in and text out, and then you put that onto something that has a voice interface, for example, you will increase token count by 20 to 40% as a minimum. And then if you think about, so just the mode of using voice in and voice out increases the token count. If you look at the quality and you say, okay, now I want to do chain of reasoning. If you look at the new GPT-4, chain of reasoning, for example, increases token count by at least 2 to 600 or more percent. So 2 to 6 times. And then you have the whole notion of quality in terms of RAG. RAG generally, it depends. It can be used to decrease, the amount of inference you need to do, but the amount of inference often goes up by as much as 20 to 60%. So anyway, those are the kind of assumptions going into this. I'm going to give you one very simple example. Go to the next one. So here's a big call center, right? AT&T has over 45,000 agents. So let's go through here. 45,000 agents, 20 calls per rep per day. What percentage are we going to go to the robot? So now, just like with John Spottiswoode, it goes from a human being now to a robot. And then how many work days and how many tokens per call? This is a conservative estimate of base tokens of text in, text out, no voice. Okay, everybody with me so far? All right, next. If you actually look at, if you price this with Azure and, on a cost per token basis, average cost, I put it $10 per million, because it's 5 in, 15 out. You can have, more, as you have more sophisticated answers, you're going to have more output than input. So I think 10 is a good blended thing. And what we looked at down the bottom here is, and this is on a 20% of the calls that they're having onto the platform. You see 358 billion tokens in year 1, almost 1 trillion tokens in year 2, and 1.5 trillion tokens in year 3. And this is the Azure and on-premise TCO cost. The on-premise is assuming that you're putting it on PowerEdge servers. You've got some indirect costs and some power issues, and then you also are paying $1 million and $3 million and $5 million for the software that you're putting onto those servers. So if we go to the next. So the conclusion here is, by these assumptions, is that total cost of ownership for a large shop happens very early. Keep going, Paul. I don't. You can go through all of them. It happens very early for large users, so it's worthwhile if you have a big budget to think about total cost of ownership. We also see a tremendous set of issues. People want to have control of their own intelligence. They're afraid of the big guys. Critical question: what will primary demand increase related to token deflation? Tokens are going to go down, right? We assert, if you remember back to your economics, it's a very elastic good. What we mean by that is that small decreases in inference is going to create primary demand because of labor substitution and other factors, quality of customer interface. So we think that, as price drops, consumption will actually increase faster, which would also make the case for on-premise, because that incremental volume, if volume's going up faster than prices coming down, that the value of having that incremental volume inside is going to be higher than if you are, if you assume equilibrium for the price volume increase trade-off. So anyway, that's some early thoughts on how large users may be looking at total cost of ownership versus buying it from the cloud.